What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Lions video, and welcome back to some more Lions news and rumors. Over just the past 24 hours alone, there have been some more Lions news and rumors to come out. Everything from the Lions' newest signing of the next veteran member of the secondary to a potential trade scenario that may happen for our Detroit Lions, along with a couple other bits and pieces of news and rumors. So before we get into the video and before we get into talking about these news and rumors, if you're new to the channel and you are enjoying the content, whether it be the Lions news and rumors or the drafting content that I also like to put out on the channel, if you enjoy the content, please consider liking the videos and subscribe to the channel. It takes 2 seconds out of your day to do so. It's quick, free, and easy, and you will be helping the channel a lot more than you could possibly know. So if you could do that, take those 2 seconds to like and subscribe, and maybe, just maybe, take a third second to hit the bell notification so that you never miss another right or wrong upload. I'd be greatly appreciative for it. But with all that being said, and without any further ado, let's get into the newest batch of Lions news and rumors and what it means for our Lions. Now, as previously mentioned, today we are going to be starting off with the Detroit Lions' newest signing, as yesterday, late into the evening, the Detroit Lions decided to give out another one-year prove-it-deal contract to 5-year NFL veteran Dean Marlowe. Now, Dean Marlowe is, as I said, a 5-year NFL veteran, spending his previous 3 seasons with the Buffalo Bills and his first 2 NFL seasons with the Carolina Panthers. Now, in his 5-year NFL career so far, Dean Marlowe has played in 31 NFL games with, as I said, both the Buffalo Bills and the Carolina Panthers. He's totaled only 38 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, 5 passes defended. However, he does have 2 interceptions as well as a fumble recovery. Now, a majority of his stats did come in the 2020 season, as he did get a lot of his time and did get a large majority of his snaps in the 2020 season alone. He did not play a lot on the defense his first couple years in Carolina, did not play a lot on the defensive side of the ball in his first couple years in Buffalo, as he was primarily a special teams player for both the Panthers and the Bills. However, throughout his time in Buffalo, throughout his 3 seasons, he did get more playing time each and every year, with the most playing time coming just a season ago for the Buffalo Bills, where, as I said, a majority of his statistics do actually come from, including his 2 interceptions, his fumble recovery, and 3 of his 5 passes defended. Now, I do not know the exact numbers on this contract. However, I do know that it is a 1-year prove-it-deal contract, just like the rest of the free agents that the Lions have been looking to bring in. This is a guy that I believe will contribute a lot on the special teams, and I think will have a small impact on the defensive side of the ball. I do not necessarily view Dean Marlowe as a potential starter. I do not really view him as a full-time starting safety for the Detroit Lions. However, I do view him as a rotational guy. I do view him as more depth. I do view him as a very good signing, because the Lions are very shallow at defensive back. They're very shallow, especially in the safety depth chart, especially in the safety rankings. They do not have a lot of players there, so adding a little bit more depth, even if it's just a guy that can rotate in and out on plays, even if it's a guy that will majorly and primarily have an effect on special teams, I do believe it is a very good signing by the Detroit Lions. He can kind of play a Miles Killebrew role, where he's going to be kind of a special teams guy majorly. He's going to be primarily a special teams player. However, he can on occasion contribute to the defense as well, like we saw with Miles Killebrew over the past couple of seasons. Now, as I said, Dean Marlowe has not really been a starting safety in the NFL for a long time. I believe the most snaps and the most percentage of snaps he has played in the NFL was with the Buffalo Bills a season ago, at just 22% of defensive snaps, which is not a bad number of snaps for a rotational secondary player. However, as I mentioned, he's not really a starting safety, has not really started in the NFL a lot. So with the Lions bringing him in, that obviously and of course means that they are looking for more secondary players, and I would not be surprised if you went out and you saw the Lions get 1 to 2 more secondary players, including a starting caliber safety, maybe like a Will Parks, or maybe another safety that is still on the market. So all in all, I do like this signing. I think this is a very solid signing by the Detroit Lions. Dean Marlowe is going to be a guy that's going to come in, be a special teams contributor, a guy that can contribute on the defense a little bit here and there, a guy that can be rotated, a guy that can be sprinkled in on the defense and can make plays. As you saw last season, on just 22% of snaps played for the defense, he did have 3 passes defended, a fumble recovery and 2 interceptions. He can make plays in the air. He can do really good things for a defense, and given the opportunity, I think he is going to perform well in Detroit as well. Again, maybe not as a starting safety, but as a rotational guy that can get a decent amount of snaps and a decent amount of playing time. Now, the second piece of news that came out last night or this morning was the news about a potential wide receiver the Lions were looking to bring in. Now, news was reported that wide receiver Demarcus Robinson had actually turned down the Detroit Lions, and instead of going to Detroit, decided to return to Kansas City to go chase another Super Bowl ring. Now, it was said that the Detroit Lions actually offered Demarcus Robinson a very similar contract to what he was being offered by the Kansas City Chiefs, and Demarcus Robinson decided that being a Super Bowl contender, being on a winning franchise would be a better solution for his career, would be a better thing for him to do. So he decided to take a very similar deal to what Detroit offered him, but go back to Kansas City where he was going to get a better opportunity to be more successful as a team, to be more successful in a better, more established offense, and of course, go get a chance to go get another Super Bowl ring. Now, I would have really liked Demarcus Robinson as a wide receiver in Detroit. He's been a really solid wide receiver on that Kansas City Chiefs receiving corps for quite a few years. Robinson, as I said, declined to go get another ring or have a chance to go chase another ring in Kansas City, and you can't really knock the guy for doing that. I mean, they're NFL players. Demarcus Robinson is an NFL player, and an NFL player playing at a very high level at that. If he's going to have an opportunity, if he's going to make the same amount of money and get the same contract in Detroit or Kansas City, one of which is likely not going to be super successful this year as far as like Super Bowls or playoff race or anything like that, versus a team that was just in the Super Bowl a year ago and a team that won the Super Bowl 2 years ago, it makes sense that Demarcus Robinson would go back to Kansas City. Now, Demarcus Robinson would have been the wide receiver 2 or 3 on the Detroit Lions, likely being wide receiver 2 starting over Brashad Perryman. In the 2020 season, Demarcus Robinson totaled 45 receptions for 466 yards and 3 touchdowns while being kind of a role player in that Chiefs defense. When targeted, Demarcus Robinson had a 70% catch percentage, only had 1 drop on all the targets that he received, and had a quarterback rating of 108.4 when targeted by Patrick Mahomes. So, I mean, he is a really good wide receiver. He's a really, really solid wide receiver for the Chiefs and would have been a solid wide receiver for the Detroit Lions had they been able to convince him to come to Detroit. Now, this does tell me a couple of things, and although Demarcus Robinson did not sign with the Detroit Lions, and although he is not here, it does give us a little bit more insight on what the Lions are looking to do. This could potentially mean the Lions are looking to add at least 1 more wide receiver in the free agent class, or they're looking to add 1 to 2 more wide receivers in general, whether that be through free agency or through the draft class. I would expect at least 1 wide receiver to be drafted, if not 2 or maybe even 3 wide receivers if they trade back and acquire a lot more picks. Depending on how the draft plays out, I would expect the Lions to get at least 1, if not 2 wide receivers in this class, and I would expect them to try to get younger at the position. And with the news coming out that they tried to nab Demarcus Robinson from the free agent market, that does tell me that they are still looking for wide receivers. That does tell me that they are not done with the wide receiver position, and does tell me that they are still looking to address wide receiver before the draft even rolls around. Now, speaking of the wide receiver position and potentially adding another wide receiver to this Lions core, the first rumor and the only rumor that we had to talk about today is a rumor that has been floating around for the past couple of days, and that is the trade rumor that the Detroit Lions may be a top trade destination for Chicago Bears wide receiver Anthony Miller. Now, Anthony Miller is a little bit undersized at wide receiver, I believe standing at just 5'11", not the biggest guy, not the biggest wide receiver. However, we have seen multiple times, especially as Detroit Lions fans, the damage he can do on the football field. Last season for the Chicago Bears, Anthony Miller totaled 49 receptions for 485 yards and 2 touchdowns. Of course, one of those touchdowns being the game winner in Detroit in week 1. And as I said, we've seen Anthony Miller show up in big moments before. We've seen Anthony Miller have really good games as a Chicago Bear, and especially with the quarterback situation, especially with the offensive situation in general in the Chicago Bears system, it's not the easiest place to learn. It's not the easiest place to be successful at wide receiver, especially when you have Mitch Trubisky and Nick Foles as your best options to throw the football. Now, Anthony Miller is a little bit of an expendable part of the Bears offense. They got their big guy back. They got their big wide receiver in Allen Robinson. Darrell Mooney is a really good wide receiver. I believe is going to be their wide receiver 2022 next year. They still have a couple other guys here and there that they could look to bring back. They could look to integrate, and they could look to even bring in a free agent or two. And that kind of leaves Anthony Miller as the odd man out and leaves the Chicago Bears in trade talks with multiple teams about potentially acquiring Anthony Miller. And the Detroit Lions were named one of the teams that could potentially acquire the young wide receiver. Now, in my opinion, I would not like to see Anthony Miller in the Detroit Lions. I would not like to see him with the Lions next season. As I said, he can show up in big moments, and he's done that numerous times throughout his career. However, there have also been games where he just simply disappears. There have been games where he simply isn't the most effective wide receiver. There are games where he just simply disappears on the football field and doesn't make an impact or a big impact if he makes an impact at all. There have been several games last season where he would have a really good game the week before, and then he would go into the next week and he would be quiet. He'd have one reception for 13 yards, or he'd be really, really quiet and would not have a big day, although he was coming off a big day just a week ago. So from that standpoint, I don't like the inconsistency at wide receiver. I think at best he would be probably the third or fourth wide receiver on our depth chart, and I think you can get similar production. I think the Lions could draft a wide receiver to get 49 receptions for 500 yards and 2 touchdowns in day 3, because that's almost exactly what they got with Quintez Cephas a season ago. That's almost exactly what they have with a lot of their late round wide receivers, and especially with this wide receiver core being so stacked, especially with this wide receiver draft class, I should say, being so stacked and having it be just a couple weeks away. Of course, the draft class would provide the Lions with younger wide receivers on better contracts, with cheaper contracts for a longer period of time. I don't think it would make sense for the Lions to trade for the veteran wide receiver, especially when his contract would expire before a rookie, and when you could get a very similar production value out of a third round or even a day 3 wide receiver at best. So with that being the case, I would not like to see the Lions trade for Anthony Miller. However, that is a rumor that the Lions may be top trade candidates for the Chicago Bears. So with all that being said, that is all I got for you guys today. Let me know down in the comments below what you think about these news and rumors. What do you think about the newest signing by our Detroit Lions? What do you think about the Lions wide receiver position? Do you think it's a big deal? Do you think it's very telling that Demarcus Robinson did not want to come to Detroit? Or do you think it was simply a matter of he just wanted to go back where he was familiar? Do you think it's a little concerning that the Lions are still looking for wide receiver this late into the offseason? Or do you just think they're trying to bring in as much competition as possible? Let me know down in the comments below what you think about these newest news and rumors. But with all that being said, that is all I got for you guys today. Thank you all so very much for watching the video. If there's more Lions news or rumors to come out in the next couple of days, of course, I will be back with more news and rumors for you guys. I will be back with another video talking and speculating about said rumors. But with all that being said, that is all I got for you guys today. Thank you all so very much for watching the video. As I said, if there's more Lions news and rumors to come out, of course, another video will be made. But until then, that is all I got for you guys today. Thank you all so very much for watching the video. And as always, and until next time, go Lions.